Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the DIA, and the IYT. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly time frames. We use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. If you like these videos, go to my website, sign up, it's free, or click down here in the bottom right-hand corner and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And traders, if you're looking for a new broker, check out CobraTrading.com. Use promo code StockBookie or tell them StockBookie sent you there, and they'll take care of you guys. I've been using them for about 8 years now. Best in the business. Don't forget CobraTrading.com. Check them out today. All right, so daily spider, 40 million with after hours action. I think we had about 27 million on the close. We were down a little bit after hours here, $1.19. It did come back from like $1.70, I think it was down. And I guess something was going on with Japan or North Korea, something like that. And it was just a missile or a projectile that flew over their country and went into the waters somewhere out there. Still news coming in, but a little bit down after hours, so we'll have to watch for that open in the morning. So let's get right to the chart. So we're making these made high, came back in, lower high, came back in, a little bit lower high. So let's see if we could get through this area, guys. We talked about this trend line last night, connecting the highs. Boom, we're right there. Got the 20 MA. This time it closed below the 50 and the 20, so that's something to look for. Still in a consolidation pattern, slightly bullish, up and sideways, mostly bearish, down and sideways here. Now, you know, with the MAs, we always talk about a bullish stance or a bearish stance. This is back below the 20 and the 50, so slightly more bearish, but still in the upper range of the chart here, guys. So bulls, you got to get back above the 50 and the 20, above this trend line. Boom, fill the gap, and off to the races to the 250. Well, first we got to get through the 52-week high, which is 248.91, then 250, 255. 260, and then go from there. You know, still bullish up here, kind of chopping around, but now we're in a micro bull in a macro bear inside bar, so this will be interesting. So watch for it staying below the 50 and the 20. If it slowly starts to come in, remember we were down a little bit after hours, so this thing's going to open up 243.50. Where is it? 243.50 is right about, yeah, actually that will be the 618. Close a little bit lower, we might fill this gap tomorrow, so watch for that. If we do close in this lower range, look for another setup, maybe a slight retrace, and then possibly the next wave down. Or if we crack through this area and start heading to lower prices, look at 240. We get through that, then you got a couple gap fills down here. Then you have the low pivot that matches up with the 200 MA. So that's going to be a big area to see if this thing can bounce there by the dip mentality. Guys, if this thing starts breaking down, we start getting some volume in these markets, look out. 200 MA could be in play. Again, upside, got to get through the 50 and the 20, get through the 750, fill the gap, get through this pivot high, and then 250 and higher. If this thing starts to slide, we'll be looking for this low pivot, this one, and then we're back below this trend line too if if we close down in this area. So tomorrow will be a big day, including the Friday close as well, because if we close down in here on Friday, it could start getting ugly the following week. So again, $1.19 down, Japan, a little bit of news going on after hours, so keep an eye on that, especially if you're long. IWM, same thing, guys. Light volume, still grinding up. You got to remember, this thing, had pretty good pullback, guys. 144 to 134 was a $10 pullback, almost, 7% or so, or 6% or whatever you want to call it. Back up right into the 220 MA. Remember, we talked about price curling down, or the 20 MA curling down in the price. This is a slight bearish wedge here. As long as it stays below 137.67 or so, that will be fine. This should start pulling back. If we get above the 20 and start going for these high pivots up in here and then fill this gap at the 50 MA, then we can continue higher going into the 145 area. So right now, we're still, let's pull this away. Had a nice pullback here. Got a nice bounce off these lows. Remember, you got these pivot lows down in here, so you're going to have support. Volume started drying up, we started floating. So watch for more selling. This was 86 cents down after hours. Light volume here. This was up 58 cents on the day, so it wasn't too bad. But just grinding higher the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days up into good resistance up here. So let's see if this can hold it. Or do they gap it up tomorrow on a surprise? Or does this gap down at least 86 cents and start going back into this area and then possibly filling some gaps? If we get through this low here, at the 134.09, then we're definitely going to start filling gaps and whatever this thing needs to do. We don't have, let's see, got the low pivot there. Okay, we got a big gap around 130 area, so that will be one with a big gap window right around 130, 190 or so. Give it, a little bit of change there, guys. So nice retrace. Let's see if it heads up. Again, bullish. You need to get above these MAs, get through these gap fills, these pivot highs, and then higher prices, 145 to 150. If this bearish pattern starts to play out, we end up here by Friday. Then expect lower prices the following week. This one's a little bit weaker than the rest of them, a little bit lagging. So let's keep an eye on this one. And remember, I've been saying this for years, guys. If the IWM's lagging, never good for the overall markets. All right, let's get into the Qs. Qs, guys, still holding up strong. Nothing really wrong. We're back below the 20 MA and holding it, though. Tried to make an attempt here. Couldn't make it. Right back in. Consolidating. Same thing, just like the SPY. Down, up, sideways. Still a little bit bearish. Slightly bullish. In the upper range, so you got to give it that for the bullish case. Still above the 50 and the 200 as well. But we're starting to chop. We made this high right here. Lower high, lower high. I want to see if this is going to go up. It's got to break this area too, guys. You got a gap to fill right around 144.35 as well. So let's see, maybe 4 or 5 more days of consolidation, maybe up. This thing does gap down that 85 cents, which it was after hours. Well, keep an eye on the futures, guys. This could gap lower. Who knows? But if it gaps down, we might get some action. If they gap it below, let's see, 141.09, which they could in about another 50 cents or so. But yeah, watch for these pivots. As those pivots crack, we're going to fill this gap down here probably around 139.05. Then we'll wait for pattern. But right now, this is slightly bearish. You're still in a bullish stance above the 50 and the 200. So we'll see what tomorrow plays out. If we close down in this range here, then I'd expect a little more downsize at least to fill this gap. You still have a gap down here too around 136.27. Volume, again, look at the volume on this one, guys. 15 million, nothing today. Just holding up on zero volume. Watch for volume tomorrow if the selling starts to rev it up tomorrow. So, right in the half hour, you want to see what the 10 o'clock volume is on the SPY. Then you could kind of gear where the SPY could possibly be going. So if we get heavy volume, 20, 30 million right out of the gate, then we'll possibly see some lower prices tomorrow, or just a slow fade. But we'll have to watch. There's different situations. You got to watch a couple things in the markets where the transports are and stuff like that. But the DIA or the Dow Jones, down, sideways, same thing like the Qs and the SPY. Chopping around, looks like it's going to gap down. Let's see if it fills the gap or gaps lower tomorrow. We end up in this lower range tomorrow into Wednesday. I'd look for some lower prices in the following days, maybe a low on the close on Friday. But I still think we're going to hit this at 206.74, guys. So if you're long this one, just tighten the stops. You don't want to be stuck here. This has made a high or low, and this is doing the same thing the other charts are doing, guys. If it starts to fade, we get more volume. This one could really start to rumble to the downside. 200 MA would be the target, then the 200 even number. In this 203 area, that's a gap fill down in here, low pivot. So, and then if it's going to go there, it's most likely going to go overshoot and go to 200, 199, and maybe get the bounce. If it continues lower, then we got to go to the bigger time frames and figure out where this is heading down. If it moves up now, got to get above the all-time high, which is 221.68, then 225, 230, 236 area up in here, just like the Qs, guys. If it gets going, maybe 150, 155, just like these. It's about the same. Looking at 130, 136 to the upside, 206, 203 to the downside. So we're going to see tomorrow if this thing gaps down. If it does, I think we'll have a little more downside coming in the following days and possibly weeks. So watch for that, guys. Volume, though, holding up on the DIA. So let's watch what happens tomorrow with this news out of Japan. Let's see if we gap down. Normally the news subsides overnight, and then we'll gap up green tomorrow and everything will be fine. That's kind of the normal, but we'll see what happens if Trump comes on and addresses the nation. So the IYT trying to make a bid here. It was starting to break down, guys. We filled the gap down in here right around 162.76 and boom, bounced it up trying to save it. Almost an engulfing reversal candle on the daily, which would have been big. A little bit of follow through today, but in the lower range, still below the MAs in a slight bearish stance. 20 MAs curling in the price, as well as the 50 MAs starting to curl down. So if this continues sideways, this will curl down in the price as well. 20 MAs should put some pressure on, and that will possibly push it down. Bulls, you got to get back above the 20, the 200, and the 50 MA. Fill this gap, get over. This is a big pivot right in here. If it can recapture that, then you go in here. You're going to go to gap window at 172.81. Then you're going to fill this gap and possibly higher prices. If you can get through all this and this thing shows some a little more volume than well, I mean, volume wasn't bad last week wasn't, mostly on Friday trying to push it up, but today nice little follow through day, not anything crazy, but it held up good and stayed green. So, but bearish stance, bulls got to get above the MAs, pivot, you know what it needs to do. If it stays down here, chops around, we're looking for lower prices, most likely 157.70, and then possibly lower prices from there, but that will be a good beginning. Got a couple gaps up in here, so let's fill some more gaps. Let's get to this lower trend line here, or pivot, and then let's see what we do. Again, we got to go to the weekly charts. There might be a 50 MA down here, a 20 MA for some support, so we got to line some other charts and time frames up to try to get the best bounce area we could possibly find. And sometimes in these markets, guys, if these start to dump, just step aside, let them go down, and then try to find some lower areas if these main areas start to crack. Remember, you got gap fills here too. If that cracks through like butter, we're going to 150, possibly lower. Remember what I've been saying, guys, lows of November, 141, 142. We got a couple gaps to fill up here, but we start cracking these lines, these are going to be in play. I'm telling you right now. All right, guys, again, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking my videos out. Hopefully I'm helping some of you traders out there. I don't care, bull or bear. I'll show you which way it's going up, which way it's going down, and try to put some trades on, try to make some money here at StockBookie.com. Again, check out Cobra Trading. Real great group of guys over there. I use them. Check them out if you're looking for a new broker. And again, thanks for stopping by. Love you guys. God bless. See you on the charts.